Hi guys, welcome back for another exciting entry into our ongoing 300 blackout jacketed subsonic bullet testing series. We're about halfway through, maybe, almost. Testing like 20 different bullets for subsonic accuracy. We got playlists. There's a big 300 blackout playlist with all of our 300 blackout videos in it, and then there's another playlist with just the bullet test videos, and there's a big introduction video for the bullet testing that goes over the guns and some of the methodology and stuff. So we're kind of going to be rolling along here without a lot of explanation. So if you need that, yeah, check out those earlier videos. Today's bullet is one I am intensely interested in, and that is the 200 grain Lapua Full Metal Jacket Boattail Subsonic. Have a quick look at this guy. Pretty interesting design. Designed specifically for subsonic, right? You see the boattail is rebated, like it's kind of sunken in there a little bit. That's supposed to help with subsonic flight and all this crap. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Bullet's not really made for 300 blackout. I think it's made more for 308 or whatever, you know, whatever other usage you can find. It's a little bit short and stubby, but that's okay. I did a little bit of searching around to see where people were seating these guys to, and it seems that you know, that top groove, people just kind of use that as a crimping groove, and I guess maybe that's what it is. Maybe you know, I don't know. It's just it's a weird cantilever design, or maybe just one I'm not all that familiar with. So that was a little bit confusing. I'll show you where we seated it up to. You can see just below that top line, and that ended up giving me an overall length of 2.020. My initial intentions were to go just do 2 inches, because I did some searching around to see what other people were doing, and some other people were mentioning just seating them to 2 inches. But the mouth of the case was a little bit far up, and I wasn't sure it was going to have clearance to crimp down into that last groove. So we backed it off about 20 thousandths, so 2.020 is going to be our overall length. Pretty cool bullet. Looking forward to seeing how these guys are going to do. The powders for today: Accurate 1680, far and away the best 300 blackout subsonic powder. You know, if you're shooting subsonic 300 blackout, you should either own this or be on the lookout for it at all times. Winchester 296 is our other guy. This powder has a little bit of issues with function in our carbine gas gun, right? We got 2 guns we're going to be testing with, but in our testing so far, I would say this has been, if not the most accurate powder, one of the top couple. It runs really well in the pistol gas gun, and it runs okay in carbine gas with suppressed generally. But we're going to see. So I kind of picked the good powders here because I wanted to give this Lapua bullet the very best opportunity to shoot some good groups, because I'm hoping it's going to be a good one. Hoping it's going to be a good one. So okay, so we've only got 100 bullets. So we need to work up loads for 2 guns with 2 powders. You know, we've got to cut some corners and try to be as stingy as we can with the bullet supply. So what we're going to start out with, we're going to shoot 5 shots with each gun and powder combination. So I've actually already loaded them up and shot them. Got the footage, so let's kind of go through those one at a time. The first thing I shot was Winchester 296. Starting with our 8.5 inch barrel, our loads were 8.7, 8.9, 9.1, 9.3, and 9.5. Now, previous bullet testing videos, I've been doing half grain increments, but we're to the point where we've done enough tests where I've shot all of these powders with other bullets, in the 200 grain range. So I've got a reasonably good idea about what sort of range we need to be in. So I brought that down, and we're just doing 2/10 increments between the shots. So should give us a little bit finer detail about exactly where we're going to find that velocity target, which we use 1,050 feet per second as kind of our dream target. You know, if we can get it right on that, then that's good to go. All right, so these first 5 shots with Winchester 296. Let's get out there and see what they do. We're looking for nice round bullet holes in the paper, and we're looking for good function. So let's see how they do. Did you guys hear that deer blowing at me? Yeah, that was the first shots I fired, and I had a deer up on the hill that was a little bit mad at me. But all right, so good function. So we were loading one at a time in the magazine, right? Looking for bolt lock back as our function indicator, for better or worse. So all of those guys locked the bolt back. They all ejected nicely. So let's have a look at a chart of the velocities. Yeah, there we are. Our velocities were a little bit low. Between, let's see, what was our lowest was 929, highest was 1026, and it, you know, like our middle charge was actually the highest. So these were bouncing around a little bit goofy, but hopefully our chart here will get us what we need. So I want to pick out 3 loads. Now that we know these are flying straight, I want to pick out 3 loads that we can shoot with the suppressor, and shoot groups and see how they shoot. By the chart, it looks like we're crossing the 1,050 feet per second line right at 9.8 grains. And yeah, I'll tell you what, let's do 9.7, 9.9, and 10.1. That might be a little bit high. I might go down 1, do 9.6, 9.8, and 10. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so because when we put the suppressor on, we might gain a little bit of velocity. I'm still trying to straighten out. I haven't had my suppressor all that long, so I'm still trying to straighten out how much velocity gain I can expect, and I think it varies between powders, and it seems that temperature has a bigger effect than the suppressor anyway, so it just gets a little bit weird. So every time I try and predict how much velocity gain I'm going to get from the suppressor, I end up guessing wrong generally. But yeah, let's do that. So 9.6, 9.8, and 10.0. That's what we'll shoot with Winchester 296. Alright, enough of that. Now, same powder, but with our 16-inch gun. Let's see how that shoots. We're longer barrel, we need a little bit less powder. So our charges are 8.4, 8.6, 8.8, 9, and 9.2. So let's get out there and see if they'll run this carbine gas gun. Okay, so we didn't get bolt lock back, But the holes looked good. Actually, one of them hit that wet spot on the paper. It was fine. I looked at it close. All the bullet holes looked outstanding. So let's look at our chart for this guy. Yep. Make sure I'm looking at the right chart. Yep. 16-inch Winchester 296. Now, the first shot I did not get a velocity reading. I had not put on my chronograph exactly straight and I missed a reading, so we only got 4 shots. But the good news is that they were all right there, right around our 1,050 feet per second range, right? So we were right there in the wheelhouse. So let's do 8.7, 8.9, and 9.1. That should put us right there around it. Now, we put the suppressor on. This is probably going to run the gun just fine, but we'll find out. Okay, let's switch powders. Accurate 1680. Back to our 8.5-inch barrel. Our charges, the test charges I chose were 10.9 up to 11.7 in 2/10 increments. So let's get out there and see. Okay, so accurate 1680 is perfect as always. Ran outstanding. But these velocities are nuts. Let's have a quick look at this chart. What is that all about? Like, our trend line is pointing us to almost 14 grains. I can tell you that's not true. So I think we just got bad luck. We got some shots that were a little bit wild as far as velocity went, and we ended up with a chart that's reasonably useless. So we haven't shot it yet, but using the 16-inch barrel data, which is next, and using that as another point of data, another reference to go off of, the charges I'm going to choose here for the 8.5-inch barrel are 11.8, 12, and 12.2. So according to this chart, that should have us under 1,000 feet per second, but I know that's not the case from other bullets and from our 16-inch data with this same bullet. This chart is lying to us, and we are going to be smarter than it. Hopefully it doesn't bite us in the ass. Alright. Last but not least is the 1680 in our 16-inch barrel. A little less charge weight, so we went from 9.9, we tested from 9.9 up to 10.7. Let's go see how they went. They went perfect. That's how they went. Accurate 1680 always runs this gun outstanding. Good function, good looking bullet holes. It's all good to go. So let's look at the chart. So that we had that 10.5 grain charge went a little bit wonky on us. But I think we ended up with a pretty good chart out of this. What I want to shoot is 10.6, 10.8, and 11.0. Yep, that should put us right up there in the meat of it, of the range we're looking for. So those are our charges. So now I just need to get resituated, get our 60 more test rounds loaded up, and then we'll be ready to go out and shoot some groups. Alright, almost done. Just getting our last few bullets seated. These are interesting to seat. You know, with all the cantilures and the goofy bands and stuff, they kind of seat rough. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like there's... I don't even know how to explain it. It's... In another video, actually for a burger bullet, I ended up, you know, digging into the jacket on one, and I think it was just a boogered up piece of brass. You know, all this brass has been shot multiple times, and some of them are getting a little bit funky on the mouth. But you know, all of these have been deburred and chamfered well, so most of them are doing okay. But every once in a while, you get one with a case mouth that likes to drag a little bit, and all these bands and stuff just give it like multiple opportunities to dig in. So I'm kind of you know, just having to be careful as I'm seating to make sure I don't, you know, to make sure they're going in and I'm not feeling any weird resistance. I'm not sure that made the least bit of sense, but maybe it did. Overall, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Very interesting bullet. I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform. Alright, that's it. We got 60 rounds ready to go, so let's hit the range. Alright, time to get started. Got a target out at about 75 yards because that's where the best light is. Hopefully you guys can see, it's a cloudy day. Storms in the area, that sort of crap. Hopefully we won't have to pack up all of our crap and run. So yeah, Lapua Subsonics, our first load is 9.6 grains of Winchester 296. Yep, we're starting with the 8.5 inch. Well, the velocity on that first shot was crazy. It was 1139 and it was a super. We might have picked the wrong charges. Interesting, it was only that first shot. All the others were right between 1080 and 1090. Very weird. Okay, next is 8.9 grains. Well, that was a nice group. All of them were super except the very last shot, though. Man, that's unfortunate. All right, so all of the last ones are going to be super. I'm going to keep those. We're not going to shoot them. I'll pull those bullets out. If we didn't get subsonic with the other loads, with the accurate 1680 loads, I mean, we might have to abort this, buy another box of bullets, and just start over. Yeah, let's switch over to accurate 1680 and see what those do. I've been calling out the wrong charge weights, haven't I? Yeah, you guys know. You see what's on the screen. Yeah, I was reading the 16-inch numbers for Winchester 296. Yeah, they were... Yeah, whatever. Okay, accurate 1680. This is 11.8 grains. Switching to the second row. Ah, that last one flew out, didn't it? Still a pretty good group. Boy, velocity was pretty much right on the money, wasn't it? Good deal. Okay, 12 grains of 1680. All right, another one. Boy, look at that standard deviation number. It is outstanding. 1068 with a 4.3. That is just, that's awesome. These guys, even though they're so short, you know, they go in the magazine well. They seem to stack nicely. We're not having any feeding issues whatsoever, so that's all good. All right, 12.2 grains. Very nice. That makes me feel a little bit better about screwing up the Winchester 296 loads, because those are certainly no slouches. We won't be giving up anything picking an accurate 1680 load. All right, so let me swap out for the 16-inch barrel, and we'll see how it does. Okay, switching over to the 16-inch gun. Back to Winchester 296. Hopefully we didn't overshoot it on this one, but this is 8.7 grains, so we'll find out. All right, that did not lock the bolt back, which is not a huge surprise, but I was hoping it might. Good group, good velocity. Okay, 8.9 grains of 296. All right, no bolt hold open, but to be expected. Another outstanding group. Velocity a touch high, but still good in subsonic. Outstanding standard deviation. It's all good, brother. Okay, 9.1 grains. That was super. 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 Yeah, velocity went a little wonky. Had quite a bit of extreme spread on that guy. 10.6 grains of accurate 1680. Good start with 1680. $10.8. Okay, last up is 11 grains. Good deal. Let's get to the bench, have a look at these. Alright guys, I am impressed. I was just measuring out some groups. This was good shooting. This was really good shooting. I think the only bullet we've really seen maybe shoot this well is the 220 grain Match King. But almost all of the bullets have shot one or two small groups. This one, every group, like it was trying to group with everything. A lot of them had one out, or just a little bit of spread, but you could just tell, man, these are shooting well, they're flying well, and they're trying their best to group. That first one was the only one that was goofy. It was a little over 2 inches, so that was a 2-inch. Then we had, yep, a whole lot. What did we have? Three. Yeah, we had 3 under 1 inch, and then a whole bunch that were just over 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So, outstanding. All right, before we pick a winner, let's have a look at these graphs, and you should ask your women and children to leave the room. These are ugly. These are nasty. Or at least some of them are. So let's go in the order we shot. What did we shoot first? We shot the 8.5, which with Winchester 296. I'm looking at the wrong spreadsheet. Stand by. You're looking at it, but I'm not. Okay, 296 with 8.5 inch barrel. This is the one we had to abort, right? We only shot the first 2 loads. Those are the 2 highest groups of shots here on our chart. And now, looking at the graph, it seems obvious, right? So those 2 low shots down there at about 1,000 feet per second, the 9.3 and the 9.5 of our initial test shots, those are what fooled us. Those are what screwed us up. And our trend line was much lower. So luckily, I mean, this is the first one that we've really screwed up bad using this method. So I'm still going to keep faith in the method. I'm just going to consider this as being an outlier. But that was unfortunate not to get some good, some good groups with Winchester 296. All right, next was the 8.5 inch with accurate 1680. This was the most consistent velocity of any of them. And if you recall, this is the one we ignored those 3. That 11.3, 11.5, 11.7. Those 3 right there that are off the trend line. We had ignored those whenever we were picking loads because we knew that was BS. So we were right in the meat of it. Our lowest charge got us perfect. 1,050 feet per second. What was that? That was 11.8 grains. 1,054 feet per second with a 7.3 foot per second standard deviation. Outstanding. Just outstanding. So, alright, moving along to our 16-inch barrel charts. Winchester 296. Oh, yeah. Ugh. That is just gross. So we had standard deviations of 17.1 for our lowest charge. The one in the middle wasn't bad. That was 9.2. You can see they're bunched up there, pretty darn close to the trend line, bunched up together. And then the highest one was really, really big spread, 29.6. So that kind of made this graph a little bit ugly. We were a little bit hot. Our lowest charge, 8.7 grains, the average was 1,057 feet per second. So that's a good load, and it was a good good group as well, really good group. But yeah, kind of a gross looking graph, but we got there. We got where we needed to be. All right, last was accurate 1680 with the 16-inch barrel. This one also, like, you know, double-digit standard deviations. 19, 11, and 14 were the 3 standard deviations for our 3 groups. Luckily though, I mean, our velocity was okay with all of these. Looks like what, like 10.7-ish would probably be maybe better. But I mean, honestly, that 10.6, our average was 1,054 feet per second with that guy. So, and that was a, you know, group under an inch. So despite a bit of, you know, excess standard deviation there, it looks good. All right. I don't think I mentioned it earlier in the video when talking about, you know, all this testing we're doing, but we needed to declare a winner because, so we've got 20 bullets left, and we're going to hold these until later, because once we finish all these bullet testing videos, we're going to have one big roundup video where we load up all of our best loads and shoot them all under the same conditions, and, you know, try to give them a fair chance against one another to see which one's best. So that's where we are. Where's our purple marker? There it is. So the Winchester 296 loads were just too hot, so those are off the table. Now, accurate 1680, outstanding shooting. Just really, really, really nice looking groups. This guy down here was 1,054 feet per second, 1.38 inch group. That's going to be our guy. Even though some of the other groups were tighter, the velocity's right on that guy, and you could tell 4 out of the 5 were right there bunched up. It was trying to group like crazy. So that is our 8.5 inch load. On the 16 inch side of things, Winchester 296 did not lock the bolt back. It ran okay, it cycled fine, but it did not lock the bolt back. So for that reason, we got to dismiss it for the for our testing. But those were outstanding groups. The worst group was 1.06 inches. 1.06, 1.05, and 0.86. Just outstanding. And we're seeing that across a lot of these bullets. Winchester 296 just shoots good groups. That's all there is to it. So down here, our first charge here was 1,054 feet per second. That's going to be our winner. All right. So accurate 1680 wins them both, and I'm happy with both. I'm overall very happy with the bullet. It lived up to my expectations. I think it shot outstanding. I think, you know, given a couple more boxes, a little bit more load development, maybe find just the right powder that suited it just perfect, you could have a incredibly outstanding, accurate load. Anything else we need to talk about? I don't think so. Nope, I think we covered it. I will see you guys next time.